What's up everyone, my name is Wyatt, and in today's video, just a couple small updates on the Civic build, and I wanted to let you guys know that I'm going to start putting that thing together next week. So be watching for those videos. I'm going to be making a bunch of them. The first one's going to be pulling the motor, then cleaning up the engine bay, getting the new motor put in, all the little bells and whistles that you got to do with that, and I think it'll be a cool little series. But for this video, I'm just going to show you a couple of the new parts that I got for the build, and also show you, a little bit of an issue that I had with the wastegate. And I didn't end up filming the whole thing, I ran out of time, but there is a little bit of footage on that, so I'll throw that in right now. Here we have a tile replica of a 44mm wastegate, V-band design, pretty much bare bones. You can get these things on eBay all day long. I picked this particular one up for about $100, and just wanted to show you guys a couple of the little issues that this gate in particular has, and just a reminder to always check out your parts before you end up using them, because this could be the difference of making your motor live or blowing up on a street pole or what have you. So let's go ahead and unbolt this thing, take a look inside, and show you guys my particular issue with this gate. Before we start tearing into this gate, I did want to give a shout out to Stovall's Garage here on YouTube. He actually has done a review / how to fix video already on this particular wastegate. It's a really great video with a ton of information, so if you have the time and you're interested, make sure to check that video out as well. But I still feel the need to make my video, as I'm having a little bit of a different issue, and kind of just to use this as a general reminder to check out all of your parts before you end up using them. Because like I said, it could mean the difference between a happy motor or a blown up motor. So let's go ahead and start tearing into this thing, and I will show you guys the issue that I'm having with it. So we're going to start by removing the 6 Allen head bolts on the top of the wastegate here. And then right underneath this cap is going to be a pretty large spring, so you want to make sure to at least have a hand on it, or crimp it down with vice grips or something. Just make sure that when you pull these bolts out, the cap doesn't go flying, as it might hit you in the face. And that's not always a good time. So like I said, start out by pulling these 6 bolts off, then we're going to take a look inside and show you guys my issue. Now that all the bolts are out, you're going to lift the cap up slowly and try not to send everything sailing. So we have the cap off the wastegate, and you can see your diaphragm and your wastegate spring. So we're going to go ahead and remove the wastegate spring, and then I'll show you guys my issue. As you can see here, this is what is called the diaphragm. This keeps the upper and lower portion of the wastegate separate, so that you can add air to the bottom and air to the top to get different boost adjustment and boost management. But long story short, when this thing was assembled, wherever it was assembled, they ended up pinching the heck out of the seal, and you can see how disformed this is, how it got pinched up here, and it got actually cut down here when they put the 2 halves together. So I ended up getting a hold of the company, and they sent me a new diaphragm. So today we're going to go ahead and put that in and see if this thing will hold pressure. Next thing to do is remove these 3 bolts that hold the diaphragm to the plunger. They're just Allen heads as well, so we're just going to break all of these loose, and it will release from the plunger, and we can pull it out and see what we need to do to replace this diaphragm. Now just lift up on the diaphragm to remove it from the wastegate housing. Go ahead and set that out of the way, and now we can focus on just this piece here. Next, we're going to either remove these 3 Allens or screw them all the way in, so that we can unscrew this top half from this bottom half and remove the old diaphragm. So I'm going to thread these in just like so. Get the Allen lined up, get the right angle to the dangle. Now the reason we're screwing these in is because this top and bottom half unthread, and if they're threaded out or left like they are right now, you will hit them when you are separating the 2 halves. All right, now that all the Allens are in and not going to interfere with us, we are going to unscrew this top half from this bottom half. Easiest way to do this is kind of pull the diaphragm back and use the diaphragm to hold the bottom half underneath. And then we're just going to unscrew lefty-loosey. And that comes apart just like that, and we're able to remove the diaphragm. Now keep in mind the orientation of this so that everything goes back together the same way, and then go ahead and remove the old one. Then go ahead and grab your new diaphragm and get it installed. This one is inside out, so it goes like this, then it goes like this, and then we're going to screw the top half back onto it. I'm going to put a little bit of Vaseline on this so that it allows it to slide together nicely and doesn't bind up at all. And I'm also going to put a little bit of red Loctite on these threads so that it can't spin loose on us. So as you can see, I've put a dab of red Loctite on there. Now we're going to put a little bit of Vaseline on the diaphragm itself so that it doesn't bind up when we thread the top half on. And then we'll reinstall everything. Alright, just like that. Eventually all that Vaseline will burn off and it won't be any issue. So go ahead and put your diaphragm onto your lower section here. Just like so. Then go ahead and thread the top piece onto it. Just like that. Make sure it's nice and snug, not going to go anywhere. And then this kind of just goes up around it like so. And there you go. Now your diaphragm is back together and it shouldn't leak. So like I said, I wasn't able to film everything that I did with the wastegate, but I did get it put back together. I got it sitting over here on the bench, and we're gonna pressure test it real quick, make sure that it holds pressure. And if you guys are really interested in seeing the full go through of this, check out that other video that I had, kind of hinted to in the past clip. The guy does a really good job going over everything. So I'm gonna plug in my air compressor and we'll pressure check this thing real quick. All right, so what we're gonna do is add air to this bottom section right here and activate the plunger, whatever you wanna call this, the valve, so that we can see if it's leaking at all. With that torn diaphragm that I had just replaced, when you'd add pressure to this bottom half of the diaphragm, it would just completely blow through it and come out the top. And when you're trying to control boost, that is not good to happen. So I'm gonna hook up my air nozzle right here, and we're gonna add some pressure and see if it leaks as bad as it was. So keep in mind, this isn't regulated at all. It's just straight out of the compressor going in, but we can check for leaks this way, and it's a fairly easy way to do this. So what we're gonna do is apply a little bit of pressure underneath the diaphragm so that it will activate the valve, plunger, whatever you wanna call it. So a little bit of pressure. And as you can see, it sucks the valve right open, and we have maybe a very, very, very tiny leak, as it will bleed off over time, but it's a lot better than it was with the torn diaphragm. That's it. And then when you let off of the air, you let the air out of the diaphragm, it slams the plunger shut. So yeah. This is going in the video.
No, it's not.
Bet.
Go away.
Bet.
Go away.
Filming me while I'm trying to film and shit. Bye. As far as the motor goes, if you guys follow my Instagram or Snapchat, you know that I did get a new intake manifold for it. I ended up getting the Edelbrock Victor X. So we're gonna be running the home built one. It's over there on the stand still. We're gonna be testing that one out, seeing if it makes some good power, but I'm gonna end up running this one when it's all said and done, just because it looks a lot better. I also got this Skunk 2 70mm throttle body. There's a lot of mixed reviews on those with them sticking, but I am a mechanic, at least I call myself one, so if it does end up sticking, we'll probably just modify it a little bit to prevent that. So yeah, if we run into that issue, we will deal with it when we get there. So like I said, just a quick video for you guys. God damn, I got shaky ass hands. It's It's like I got freaking arthritis. Anyways, like I was saying, just a short video for you guys, but before I go, I wanted to give a big thank you to a subscriber by the name of Tommy. He ended up sending over some stuff for the Civic. These here are Blackworks Racing lower control arms or trailing arms, a brace, and a couple of tow hooks. So huge shout out to him. He also sent one of the funniest letters that I've ever read. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys that. Let it focus. You guys can pause the video if you want to read all this, but it's definitely worth the read. It is freaking hilarious. So yeah, other than that, that is going to be the end of this video. And we will see you guys in the next one when we're pulling the motor on the Civic. Peace.